Jeremy Fields taking on Steve Thomas, catch weight of 180 pounds. Jeremy Fields is 30, Steve Thomas only 19.
This is scheduled
You'll
for
also notice
3-minute
a
rounds.
reach differential in favor of Steve Thomas, but a competition experience favor for Jeremy Fields.
Here we go. They ring the bell. Mike King, referee, scheduled for 3-minute rounds here. Both fighters squaring up in the middle. Steve Thomas, a specimen up there, coming out of the blue corner.
He is a 19-year-old kid, man. What it is to be 19 again, huh?
Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. Jeremy Fields fighting in the black loose trunks. Steve Thomas fighting in the black tight trunks. Both fighters squared up in the middle in the Domino's logo. Steve Thomas in the blue gloves.
Steve Thomas taking center of the cage as well, trying to get Jeremy Fields, rotating on the outside, but he's not doing it quite enough. He's not quite cutting him off, just sort of forward moving. That's okay, may not be enough, but you can see this kid has big power, driving forward with hands and feet combinations. I can see why Steve Thomas want to take this fight to the ground. Good job doing that from the clinch.
Right. On top, Steve Thomas on his back in the blue gloves, and I thought that was a good move by Jeremy getting, because I thought that these Steve Thomas blows were going to crush him.
Yeah, let's see what kind of guard Steve Thomas has. Right now he's working from a full guard. It's easier, by the way, to break someone's full guard when you stand. That's probably why he's doing that. Also, look, you can use gravity to your benefit and pound on him. You can see a triangle here. He doesn't have it. He has the arm, but he's already passed outside. He didn't have quite the same control. You could see him reaching over the left hand to pull his head down. Too little, too late.
Jeremy had left himself open, too. I think if Steve Thomas with a little more experience with the up kick, he had him squared up, wide open with an up kick there. He just didn't quite get it done.
If I were Jeremy Fields, I would definitely be looking to punch my way into the clinch. It's not that Thomas's guard is sort of lax or not there. It's that you can see he's a lot more dynamic of a threat on the feet. Now standing in the southpaw stance, by the way.
Both fighters.
And then switching back.
Yeah. Both fighters have not lost a fight. We're looking at 2-0 for Steve Thomas, 4-0 for Jeremy Fields in the red gloves. Like, I'm going to tell you, Steve Thomas just looks strong out there.
Yeah, and you can notice there's a noticeable speed differential. But look, we talked about it before. Jeremy Fields has a competition experience. Good job punching his way into the clinch. He's definitely going to want to slow this down. You're not going to beat this kid on speed, but maybe you can beat him on guile.
And it's funny because there's many times as I've seen it, it's not always the strongest fighter, but maybe the smartest fighter.
Nice job, though, by Thomas elbowing and then circling his back out to his left to get off the cage.
Both fighters staying in center ring, toe-to-toe on the Domino's logo. This fight brought to you by Domino's, more than just pizza.
That was great. Did you see that? He went southpaw and then went to the middle kick, switched to orthodox, and then did a front leg low kick. Fantastic job mixing it up.
This is where I start to see a little bit of an inexperience.
Oh, right to the liver shot! Spinning back kick to the liver, dropped him, and then he jumps on a guillotine. Oh, that was fantastic. The Bas Rutten special. Not quite a punch, but that liver shot.
Scott Thomas with a final. Well, there's the end of round number one. Scott Thomas with a great spinning kick to the liver. And let me tell you, we don't see a lot of guys go down with a stomach blow.
Listen, it's one of the most painful, unbelievable shots. It's how you KO a guy who's still conscious. Your liver is wrapped basically in cells. I'm no biologist, but what happens is when you get hit, it sends a shock wave of pain throughout your body. Guys can't even control their posture. We're looking at the replay here. Watch this. You can see him wincing in pain, and he drops. And you know what? The guillotine didn't work. Look at that. I mean, he ate it flush. That was like David Loiseau chainsaw Charles McCarthy-esque.
He caught him square. But I tell you, Jeremy Fields hanging tough till the end of the round, and that's going to probably save him. Let's see what happens, because right now, as I look at him in the corner, he is really still hurting from that kick to the gut.
He's going to be feeling that tomorrow. That doesn't go away. He might be functional enough to keep going, but that pain is enduring.
And right as Steve Thomas in the blue corner spins around and does that kick, he had thrown a couple of wild punches that I thought maybe that was inexperience. He was leaving himself wide open. He goes and fights a guy who's been fighting for 3 or 4 years. You're going to be in trouble. You start leaving yourself open.
This kid's so athletic, but he's got good fight IQ too. I want to see which way Jeremy Fields is circling. Back to that left-hand side. He's going to throw that middle kick. Good job, though, by Fields closing the distance and getting in on him. Look, it's pretty clear what he needs to do. The longer you stand at range, a failed attempt at an Uchimata, and both guys recover. Yeah, as long as Fields is playing on the outside, he's going to get lit up.
That spot.
Look, he went right back to the liver with the middle
Yes.
kick. Did you see that?
That's what I'm just getting ready to say. The spot is red. It's almost like a target.
And he's going to drive his hips forward here to put Fields' back on the canvas.
Both fighters clinched up, middle of the ring, right on the Domino's logo.
I have to say, for a kid who's got only 2 fights, he has a lot of experience. Look, a lot of growing to do too, but already you can see he's something special. Good job circling out and fired the left right as he charged in, and he was circling out.
Steve Thomas in the blue corner fighting from the BJJ West. Jeremy Fields in the red gloves fighting out of the MMA Institute. Jeremy Fields on his back right now. I'll tell you, this Thomas kid has got him.
Yeah, but you know what? Good job by Fields. He was getting pressured with shoulder pressure, but Thomas wasn't doing it right, so he was able to get his hips under him and at least recapture some form of guard. Now he's got the underhook. If he can get his back up a little bit and get his post behind him, we let it go. But that's what you need to get up and maybe get back to a more superior position.
This is the part in the fights that they're right here in front of us. I mean, this is the best seats in the house right here, Luke Thomas.
I mean, look at this ground and pound. What a nightmare Steve Thomas is.
19 years old. 19 years old fighting a guy who's 30 years old.
And has more fights. Just goes to show you some guys are just naturals.
Couple of right hands to the side of Steve Thomas from Jeremy Fields. Both fighters right here in front of the table.
If he's not careful, he can get swept here just like that. Decent attempt there from Jeremy Fields. Couldn't quite get it. Was going for like a modified scissor sweep, but ends up taking his back getting taken. Now it's going to be a battle of the hand fights. Who can keep the hand fighting up longest? Also, it's interesting. Look what's happening here. Good job turning around. Can't quite get it just yet, but he's going to get it there. Whenever someone has your back, you can put your weight on top of them. It's a little harder to handle. And now you see here, Fields posturing up. Good job by Thomas to create space.
Yeah, just to get out of that. That's the difference in that length. It's 6'1".
Here's the problem for Jeremy Fields. He is better on the ground than he is standing. The problem is, while he is better there than he is standing, he still has not enough answers for what Steve Thomas can do there. He has virtually no answer standing, and he has a couple more defensively on the ground, but it doesn't look like he's got enough. I mean, look, are we seeing a lot of hip action? He's controlling him with that what's called a scorpion hook, but he's not doing enough to throw up arm bars, throw up triangles, get his balance off base and turn him.
That's the end of round number 2 between Jeremy Fields and Steve Thomas. Steve Thomas fighting out of BJJ Conquest, Jeremy out of the MMA Institute. Jeremy, 30 years old. When you're 30 and you see the fight card against a 19-year-old, there's that psychological thing that says, psst, 19.
He doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
What does this guy know?
19.
And he's got less fights than me. It may not matter. I mean, listen, This is a game where skills win fights. Who has more skills, the young kid coming up or the old guy? Well, he's not old, but older guy who's got a little bit more. Look, you see they're battling with an Uchimata. The Whizzer saves him, saves Steve Thomas. And then it's a half guard there. Not much to do with it. Good punches over the top in the clinch, but he doesn't do enough to secure the underhooks, the inside space. That's where the fight is won and lost. From your armpit to your hip, who can control that space? The guy who does that is your winner.
So at the end of round number 2, who do you have on the cards?
Oh, it's got to be Steve Thomas. I mean, listen, the first round is a 10-8 round in my judgment. He nearly got finished. Second round, 10-9, easy for Thomas.
Third and final round coming up. Referee Mike King clearing out the corners. Both fighters. I tell you, Steve Thomas doesn't look tired, and Jeremy looks tired to me. Like they're breathing hard.
Well, he looks a little demoralized.
Yeah.
But they're both tough guys here. They
yeah.
want to be here. They want to get this done. I just feel like Thomas is like, where can I go to win this? I thought I could go to the ground, but that's not working out either. Excuse me, I'm Thomas. Fields.
And Fields, even though he looks tired and he's got that red mark on his stomach, he still comes out and he still looks to be the aggressor. I liked him in round 2. Couple of rights and lefts.
Yeah,
great.
Thomas has to get off the cage now. You see that a lot from younger fighters. One guy will barrel forward with punches, and the other guy will respond. I would have to tell all fighters, please stop doing that. It's just a gun draw at that point. Whoever draws the quickest, it's not really skill at that point, it's just luck. And so you saw what happened? Both guys got tagged.
So now we got both fighters up against the cage. And explain to people at home about the cage. You can't grab the cage with your hand.
No, but you can push off of it. You can lean into it. And what Randy Couture was really famous for, he would run guys into the cage, let them bounce off of it, and he would use that to get up under them and take them down.
Somebody's showing some blood here. Like I can't see exactly who it's coming from.
It looks like it might be coming from the forehead of Thomas.
I'm going to tell you, those rights and lefts in the round 2 and then in round 3 here absolutely stung Thomas.
You see, Thomas is trying to stand, but you have to stand while getting your hips out and back. You have to create a structure that's sort of far apart with your 2 feet. He's at a sort of a half butterfly guard here. You see him sort of like instinctively reaching for the fence. You can't do that. He has to plant his right hand, he has to turn his hips over, and he has to move. You see him not creating a frame with his left hand. Well, that's definitely Thomas that's bleeding.
That's a lot of blood.
It looks like his nose is broken.
And it could be his nose.
I'm not at a perfect angle. I can't see if there's a gash on his forehead.
It definitely looks like it's either coming from his lip or his nose. I can't really tell, but the blood is coming from Thomas. Couple of side kicks from Thomas, standing up in the blue gloves. Jeremy Fields on the ground in the red gloves.
Good left, straight, diving into the guard, showing just no regard for Fields' guard. Might be setting up a guillotine or a Darce here. Let's see if he's got it.
Has he got it hooked?
It looks like he has like a sort of that.
This is the other thing. Once guys start bleeding, it's tough to get a grip on these guys.
Listen, here's what I recommend. If you're playing the top, if your objective is I want to win either standing or I want to win on top, don't do what's called there's a sacrifice throw where you just go to your back to make a throw. Don't do a sacrifice submission. Don't go to the bottom to get it. You notice when he rocked him in the first round, what did he do? The sitting in guillotine, the on top guillotine. Going to the bottom like that, I'm not saying it won't work, it just doesn't maximize your chances.
Couple of overhand rights stung Thomas while he's on the ground.
Here comes that veteran experience trying to pass the guard. Still in the fight, still got his composure, stacking him.
I think Thomas knows that he has to, Fields knows that he has to knock him out, because I don't think he won 1 and 2.
Doing like a modified throw-by pass, like almost like a no-gi Toriando pass.
And there it is, the end of the fight, ladies and gentlemen. That's a good one here for Cagezilla. The first 2 fights went by pretty quick, but wow, to see this one go like it just went was absolutely spectacular.
For a guy who got bombed on for 2 rounds, for Jeremy Fields to come back, never let go of the game plan, charge in with punches, couldn't do everything he wanted to. You can see him, look here, charging with punches. It's a little reckless, but it lands. The left and then the right.
He caught him 3 times.
Maybe that's where we got the bloody nose or the broken nose from. You see Thomas now has to come out and make a desperate choice.
And I thought that maybe it happened when he went to the ground, but I think the overhand caught him right. All right, when we come back, we'll be up for the next fight here at Cagezilla. You guys stick around, don't go anywhere. The winners of this fight announced next.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for both these fighters tonight. That's how we like to see this go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to ring announcer Kevin Schaefer to get the judge's decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges have scored this fight unanimous. 28-29, 28-29, and 28-29. Winner, out of the blue corner, Steve Thomas!
No surprise there with Steve Thomas as your winner. A little bit of a sort of bad showing at the end of the 3rd round, but dominating the 1st and the 2nd frame. Big, bright future for this kid. Take a look at the highlights again. You see here Fields charging forward with punches, and he lands, but then loses right there with the left hand, his balance. Steve Thomas, though, holding his composure, winning a dominant decision. The better fighter, the more superior fighter, will have more action like that when we come back with Cagezilla.